Parents of Reddit with gay children. Did you know they were gay before they came out? How old were they when you figured it out? How did you figure it out? One of my best friends came out to me in the middle of playing Mario Bros 3. We're sitting in my living room, parents are outside elsewhere, when she suddenly pauses the game, looks at me and says, "I have something I need to tell you. What's up? I like girls." Yeah. So are you gonna ask Sarah out? Cause she was asking about you the other day. In less than 5 minutes of her coming out to me, I had a hookup for prom for her. They're getting married this summer, after almost 20 years together. I'm gonna be their best man. Now, how does one throw a bachelorette party for 2 women on the same night? When I came out to my traditional Sicilian mom, she said in her accent, "Yeah, I've known for a while. Are you the man or the woman? That's like asking which chopstick is the fork, lol." My daughter came out in the backseat of our truck. We were on our way to or from a softball game. She did it this way: "Mom, would it be alright if I dated this girl named Kate?" This was her question. I didn't even flinch and said, "Of course, Jen." I asked because it's going to involve you and her mom coordinating, right? Since she lives an hour away and neither of us has a license, obviously. She wasn't coming out. She was asking permission for me to become a taxi service, which I gladly did. P.S. I loved Kate and still do to this day. She is an amazing person and a great soul. Just as a note, pretty much everyone in this post has had or will have someone come out to them. I've had a lot of friends and acquaintances who have said that they already knew, so when the person came out, they were just like, "Yeah, I know, move on. Don't fake surprise if you knew. But don't immediately brush it off." The person who's coming out has thought long and hard about this. It's a big step for them. Take a second to say thank you for trusting me with this, or that you'll support them just as much as ever. It doesn't need to be 5 minutes and holding each other and crying, but if they pause Mario Kart to tell you, let them be the one to unpause the game, you know? I've been married to my husband for almost 2 years, and I'm pretty sure my stepmom still doesn't really get it. You and your roommate sure hang out a lot. After all that practice kissing, you guys are going to be awesome when you get real girlfriends. Gay man here. I'll give you my coming out story. It was Ash Wednesday, big Catholic family, we all still have ashes on our foreheads. I'd been trying to tell my mom and stepdad for days. They are both very conservative. So after days of trying to get it out, I finally work up the courage. I hand my mom a note saying something like, "This is really hard to say, so I'll just write it down. I'm gay." My mom reads the note and says, "Okay, well, I figured." She tells my stepdad and he admits he's known for a while. They told me that they knew when I was 4 and that they'd love me forever no matter what. Edit. Okay, so they didn't know as in they were 100% sure, but they were pretty sure they had me figured out. Barbies, easy bake oven, dress up with mom's clothes. My best friend is gay. When we were growing up, the LGBT community was just getting its foothold when it came to acceptance. It was the early 80s. He was always around the house. My parents basically just accepted the fact that this kid was always going to be around. He ate dinner with us all the time and it wasn't uncommon for him to spend the night on non-school nights. In the mid-90s he finally came out of the closet. We were about 18 at the time. Since we had so many discussions when we spent time around one another, I already knew. When he did come out, he told his parents and they disowned him. He said they knew he was gay, but they still disowned him just because he publicly admitted it. Since my parents were always so kind to him, he decided to sit down and have a conversation with them about it too. He basically said, "I'm gay," and my dad's reaction was no shit. My mom hushed my dad and said she was proud of him for being true to himself. He lived with us for about 2 months, found his own place and moved out. He just needed some time to get money together. My parents helped him financially as much as they could. Nothing ever changed. My parents still, to this day, treat him like he is part of the family. History is repeating itself. My daughter's best friend is gay. They're about to enter high school. He is a popular kid. Everyone likes him. No one cares that he is gay. Except his parents. His parents pulled him out of school, homeschooled him, because they thought public school was making him gay. They sent him to something along the lines of pray away the gay. He stayed true to himself though. Nothing has changed who he is. He is still openly gay. His parents basically gave him to his ultra-conservative grandparents who tried more church, more praying and arranged activities to make him more manly. After all those failed and he rebelled, they basically just gave up on him. He lives in their house, but goes relatively ignored. They've given up on him. They give him the very basics of care. So he spends a lot of time at our house. Me, my daughter and him play video games a lot. We've been getting in shape for track, and when my daughter and I plan things, we include him. I've just kind of unofficially adopted the kid. He slept over on school nights, sometimes staying up to 5 or 6 days at a time. His grandparents just don't care. He was running low on clothes one day and I realized they were getting ratty when I was doing the wash. I called his grandparents and mentioned it and they told me the clothes he has are fine. He doesn't need anything new. My daughter asked if we could get him new clothes. She had also asked to upgrade her phone before this. I told her that I couldn't afford to get him new clothes and a phone upgrade. So she gave up her phone upgrade and we took him shopping. I spent probably about $300 on clothes and shoes for this kid and he was just about in tears. If he thanked me one more time I was going to strangle him. I upgraded my kid's phone and I just went without some simple things. In my opinion her behavior deserved reward. She was willing to go without so that someone else could get something they needed. Kind of made me proud that my kid could look at a situation and see that. I know that sounds silly. But the idea that she was willing to go without an accessory so that someone could get a necessity really impressed me. I think he's eventually going to ask to move in, so I've started preparing a room for him. I figure he's here so much anyway, that sleeping on the floor is probably getting old. So even if he doesn't ask to move in, he'll still have a place to sleep on the nights he stays over. Since I live with my parents, I asked if it was okay. We have a 5-bedroom house and the spare room kind of became a catch-all for all my adopted computers. My parents are living on their retirement and anything I make gets added to the pot. It's an added expense that my parents and I weren't expecting, but we'll be alright. I just don't like the idea of this kid going through life thinking he isn't accepted anywhere and has nowhere to go. When I tried to talk to his grandparents and his parents about things, I basically get shunned because I've accepted who he is. I just keep being polite and letting them know what their kid is doing, how well he is doing in school, how many friends he has and everything else. It's like I am a telemarketer bothering them. Their responses are curt and the conversation is usually cut short. My dad now jokes that we're like the Underground Railroad for gay people. My best friend stops over on major holidays to spend time with us. He usually has his significant other with him. Then we usually have my daughter's best friend over too, because his grandparents leave him at home on holidays. The Underground Rainbow. One of my best friends is gay. He and his brother came out to their parents at the same time. His dad says I don't understand. Is it something we did? The way we raised you, my friend? I don't know, maybe.
Your sperm is gay, Dad.
My kid brother was obviously gay from the moment he came home from the hospital. He was always decorating and discussing women's clothes and shoes since he was in primary school. Youngest of 4 brothers, I remember my mom pointing at him in public shop and saying I had 3 boys before him, and I so wanted a girl, but this is what I got. He just smiled, unfazed, because they had a terrific bond. He wasn't harassed in school, because all the girls loved him. A complete chick magnet. I could never relate as well to women as he did, and he could bond and be emotionally intimate with a girl he just met. He was all the stereotypes, the clothes, the interior design fetish, the effeminate bearing from very early on, maybe 3 or 4. He passed away early in the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. I miss him so much. I tear up when I hear Elton John's song Daniel. He was a beautiful person, and I'm proud and lucky he was my kid brother. My daughter is almost 21 and never really came out to me. At 3 she was still tiny with beautiful blonde ringlets and such a girly girl, but I knew she was going to be gay, but I don't know why. Our standard joke as she grew up was that she would have a CV, old Citroen, with some cats and a goat in the back with a strippy hood, and she would have a girlfriend and be gay. I just knew. She had a boyfriend, just the one. But even then I knew it wouldn't last. About 18 months ago she lost 40 plus kilos and told me she was dancing in the Sydney Mardi Gras. She still didn't tell me she was gay. I eventually asked her, then told her I knew, didn't care and would always love her no matter what. A close family friend has just had her 17-year-old son come out. She and her husband were totally shocked. My wife and I have suspected it, although we said nothing since he was about 5 years old. They both apparently cried. We have a 17-year-old son too. I am pretty sure he's hetero based upon the conga line of girls that he parades, but if he wasn't, I'd rather have a loving son that we could support no matter what his orientation. My mum just asked me, "Huh, where you going me? Jimmy's house. Huh, is he your boyfriend me? Yes her. Okay. See you later." I had only been with him for a week and she got that shit sussed out fast. My mum's a primary, elementary, school teacher and she taught a kid she thought was gay at age 6. He was on The Voice last year, gay as a window. Edit, not sure what his name is, but he was on The Voice of Ireland. Think he was the only gay guy too. And yes, it is a brass eye reference. Well, my son is 4, and he's already loudly and frequently professed his intention to marry his male friend. So I gotta admit, I didn't see that coming. It's okay, though they eloped for a private ceremony in the kitchen a few weeks ago, so at least I don't need to rent a tux. Parent here. I knew my son was not gay when he asked, at 7, if he could have some alone time in the office. I looked at his search history: 1 big boobs, which turned up weird humongous photoshopped boobs, immediately followed by 2 little boobs and then 3 hot grills, which turned up page after page of Weber grills. Brother of a gay man here. When I came out as agnostic to my sister and begged her not to tell mom or dad, she said now I have to keep a secret for both of my brothers, so I asked he's gay isn't he, so yeah. We always kinda knew. Twist, my parents recently told me they were 90% sure I was gay before my current girlfriend. My dad helpfully added that he's still undecided. Not my kid, but my brother. He was always gay. I remember talking about who we were going to be for Halloween, and of course that meant my costume fantasy could beat up your costume fantasy. He argued endlessly that his princess wand could defeat my ninja. We were 8 and 9? If that? That's when I knew. Gay kid here. My parents had no clue. They were completely surprised. It took my mom a few weeks to believe me. My dad didn't care if I was gay, straight, bi, or anything, as long as I am happy. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button like it's a
thick booty.
And don't forget to subscribe to OKPJ Dark if you like nice things, like new videos every day. See you tomorrow.